But this is not the real value of devotional service. The actual value of devotional service is that you come face to face with God, face to face with Krishna, in the form of his holy name. And Krishna's holy name is endowed with all of Krishna's qualities and energies. This is stated in all scriptures. Huh? So you don't believe it. Huh? You don't understand what I'm saying. No. No, you don't. So in other words, the holy name is non-different from Krishna himself. As soon as you chant the holy name, Krishna is there, completely, fully present. See, you have to accept this to realize the holy name. As soon as you chant the holy name, Krishna is fully present with full potency. Nam nam akari bahuda nivasarva shaktish. That Krishna has invested all of his potencies in his holy name. And there's no hard and fast rule for chanting. You can chant anytime, any place, anywhere, any holy name of the Lord. And this is true for all of them. See, so this is a very deep realization. As attachment can be invoked by the association of pure devotees, so attachment can also be extinguished by offenses committed at the lotus feet of pure devotees. To be more clear, by the association of pure devotees, attachment for Krishna can be aroused. But if one commits offenses at the lotus feet of a devotee, one's shadow attachment or para attachment can be extinguished. This extinguishing is like the waning of the full moon, which gradually decreases and at last becomes dark. One should therefore be very careful while associating with pure devotees to guard against committing an offense at their lotus feet. In other words, when a neophyte devotee first comes into the association of devotees, he feels that, yes, this is it. I finally found the truth. And now I'm going to become just like these pure devotees, and I'm going to exhibit the same exalted symptoms and so on like that. And so he feels like he has some attachment. But actually his attachment is very shallow. See, shadow, like a shadow, or like a reflection. You see? He's around, he's associating with the pure devotees, and so he reflects their qualities by that association. Okay. So this association, this attachment is not deep. It's shallow. And just like it comes very quickly, it can also go very quickly if the devotee commits some offense. And especially offenses at the feet of a devotee are very serious. Transcendental attachment, either shadow or para, can be nullified by different degrees of offenses at the lotus feet of pure devotees. If the offense is very serious, then one's attachment becomes almost nil. And if the offense is not very serious, one's attachment can become second class or third class. So we often see this. We often see this happen. Somebody will come onto the site and they'll register on the forum and they'll make some posts and they're all fired up. They're like, yeah, I want to become a devotee. And yeah, I want to start a community, and I want to do this and I want to do that. You know, it's like they're chanting 3.5 rounds a day. You know, and they're following the regulative principles, kind of, you know, sort of, kind of. And, you know, they've read the first chapter of Sri Ishopanishad, you know. But they're going to start a community, and they're going to preach, and they're going to do this. And then they actually try to do something, and they discover how difficult it is. How difficult it is to actually quit sex life. how difficult it is to actually preach, how difficult it is to interest even one other person in this transcendental knowledge. At first they try to do it by their own doing, by their own power. And of course they fail. Because it's just like if you go in the woods and you're looking to pick some berries, and if you go at the wrong season and the berries aren't ripe, there's nothing you can do to force those berries to become ripe. Similarly, you cannot force another person to become ready to hear about the holy name of the Lord and the glories of the Supreme Personality and all these things. The person has to be ready within their heart. If their heart is ready, if they're ripe, if they're ready to hear, then they can hear. If they're not ready to hear, there's nothing you can do that will make them hear. Okay? But because the person is so new, they don't know all these things. So they try to preach and they fail. And they try and they fail. And then about the third time that they try and they get shut out, they're like, maybe this Krishna consciousness, esoteric teaching, maybe this isn't really, maybe it's not the thing for me, maybe I should go back to whatever I was doing before, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And they develop all kinds of doubts. And if they express these doubts in an offensive way, where they're not open to receiving instruction, then they can very easily commit an offense at the lotus feet of the devotees. And when this happens, their attachment diminishes. So up to that point, they have shadow attachment or reflected attachment due to associating with devotees. But then because they make an offense at the lotus feet of the devotees or at the lotus feet of the holy name, trying to preach to the faithless is the 9th offense against the holy name. So if you try to preach to somebody who doesn't want to hear about it, then you're not only going to get shut down and set yourself up for a loss, but you're also going to create an offense against the holy name of the Lord. See? When you do that, that diminishes your faith. It diminishes your attachment. It diminishes your enthusiasm for devotional service. You start doubting. You start wondering if this is really true, if this is really powerful. These other devotees, maybe they start getting paranoid, Maybe it's just a conspiracy, and they're trying to get us to followers, and yeah, maybe it's really just a cult. No, I mean, yeah, right. Maybe they're just taking me for a ride, and maybe, and they start speculating. And so then all of a sudden you don't hear from them for a while. They don't post on the forum. Well, where's so-and-so? I don't know. He hasn't posted anything in a couple of weeks. And then we know, oh, yeah, okay. Something happened. He tried to preach to his mother-in-law. So all these things are going on. These scriptures, they're not just like theoretical. They're like very practical, very down to earth, very like something you can use every day in your devotional service. They're all like this. So, then, if someone becomes attached to the principles of salvation or to merging into the existence of the Brahmajyoti, his ecstasies gradually diminish into shadow and para attachment, or else transform into the principles of ahangrahopasana. This ahangrahopasana describes a living entity when he begins spiritual realization by identifying himself with the Supreme Lord. This state of self-realization is technically known as monism. The monist thinks himself one with the Supreme Lord. Thus, he does not differentiate between himself and the Supreme Lord. It is his view that by worshiping himself, he is worshiping the Supreme Whole. So this is actually the opposite of devotional service. In devotional service, we give service to Krishna. See? But when a person is in a state of monism, they want to accept service as Krishna. I mean, the guru accepts service sometimes on behalf of Krishna. But then he turns around and offers it to Krishna, or offers it to his spiritual master. The monist accepts service thinking, I am God, come and serve me. Great, that's very good. Yes, yes. I mean, it's very puffed up. Yeah? How could you be any more puffed up than to think, I'm God? It's not possible. So being so puffed up, this is the opposite of the humility that is the mark of advanced devotees. So we don't see that